won the coin flip. Did you go heads or tails with that puppy?
You know, Colin, I worked long and hard only to be disappointed that there was no call. It was Niners on one side and Raiders on the other, but it worked out all right for us, and I got a big smile on my face because, frankly, it's a big deal, 9th or 10th. It really is.
No.
And but kind of like watching our team play as a general manager, I realized, in my first game as a general manager, there's not a darn thing I can do about this. That's the same feeling I had there, but it worked out.
Okay, now let's go to last year. When you didn't have Garoppolo. You had a lot of needs. Now, okay, you got your quarterback, and your front seven's pretty tasty. And you got a linebacker, you got a defensive line. Now it's a little different, John. I look at your franchise, and I think you need some offensive perimeter help. I think you use another corner maybe. But do you feel differently today than a year ago today on building your team?
Absolutely, we do, and I'm proud of the work we did in year one. But the reality, as Bill Parcells famously, once said, is that you are what your record says you are. And we were 6-10. We weren't good in our division last year, and we did finish off well. But I've been a part of that before in Tampa, when we were trying to turn around a franchise. And one thing I learned is finishing well doesn't guarantee you anything the following year. You got to go and kind of reestablish our work ethic, reestablish our culture. And but yes, we are in a much better position in terms of not having so many needs. You identified a couple. I think they're pretty obvious. The nice thing, and what frankly attracted Kyle and I to San Francisco, is, other than being the Niners, an iconic franchise, is that we really had a clean slate. We had a lot of money to spend, and we could kind of form the roster in the way that we saw fit. And, we were able to do that in year one, and we want to continue to do that. It's not a finished product by any means. We've got a long way to go, but we're happy with the progress we're making.
I look at where you draft. Now you're at 9. And it's very interesting. I got into this discussion yesterday with a couple of general managers and Pete Carroll on this show. You got a guard for Notre Dame, and people never want to draft guards, interior offensive linemen high. You could get into a situation where the best player available is a defensive lineman, John, which you already actually have some nice depth there. To you, what is the most valuable, John? Need or talent? What if the best player available is a lineman defensively and you're good there?
Yeah. Well, it's a great question, and it's one that I'm constantly thinking of, that we're constantly thinking of. I think that when you're drafting high, which I hope we never are again, by the way. We did it last year. We're doing it this year, and I hope we're never in this situation as long as I'm a part of the Niners again. But when you have that, you have to take advantage. And I think you can get a dynamic, game-changing type of player when you're drafting high. And I think you got to stick with the guy that you think is the most explosive, the game changer, that the other team looks at the film and says, we better account for this guy or we're in trouble. I think that's what you're looking for. I know some people say just get the solid player. But I think you're looking for a game changer there. A lot of people talk about Solomon Thomas last year and say he wasn't that. We think he's going to become that, and we're very proud of the work he did in year one. We're looking for another guy like him at that pick. And the other thing, is that we're in a position, we got a lot of draft choices, one in every round, a couple in some of the rounds, where we can move up if we love a player. We can move back. A lot of quarterbacks out there this year. Some teams still need their quarterback, and I think we're in prime position that if someone wants that and needs that, we'll be open to that as well.
John, Pete Carroll has taken some guys through the years with a few red flags, and he's got a Super Bowl to show for it. That you can't be a moralist in this business, that you're drafting 22-year-old men. Many came from tough environments, but there are red flags that would worry me. I can see a video of Baker Mayfield. I'm like, I don't like that police video. Reuben Foster, you took, though, there were a couple red flags. Give me your theory on red flags you're comfortable with, and those perhaps, John, you're not comfortable with. Is there something that you'll just say, I'm taking a guy off my board?
Yeah, you do the best you can. We're here and in Indy, and you get 15 minutes with these guys. But I will tell you, Colin, that we did more due diligence on Reuben Foster than any player in the draft last year, because the film was obvious. He was a guy that we coveted, and you try to get comfortable that, you know, if you put some structure in place that he can succeed. He's fallen short in the first couple months of his first offseason. We're disappointed about that. I'm not going to get into the details because it is an ongoing legal matter, but we've communicated that with Ruben, I think right now we're going to let things play out. And the one thing I can tell our fans and everyone is that to me, you can't form a team just full of choir boys. It's not a reality.
That's right.
But you do want to, character is important to me. And, that's something we look at hard. And, we'll always try to do that, what's right. I understand the gravity of the situations that he's been in. I don't take it lightly. It keeps me up at night, frankly. It disappoints me when someone that you put your trust in, puts himself in situations. Now, these are allegations, and so we're going to let it play out. But we do take every time that we're talking about any player, we take it extremely seriously, and it's not an exact science by any means.
And finally, John Lynch of the 49ers, guys like me, talking heads, we can say a lot about mock drafts. But do you practice the draft? Will you what happens if you get a phone call, John, 45 seconds to a pick? Do you practice the draft? How's it work?
Yeah, we actually do. It's one of the things I learned. John Elway brought me into their building about 6-7 years ago, and I did an off season with them, and I did the draft preparation. And one of the things I learned there, they actually, the week before the draft, they get everybody in the building, everybody from the front office. This year we did it with my assistant. She was in there drafting, and you start just, everybody's got a pick, but you want to put yourself in that situation. And as a player, that's what you do. You get a game plan together, you practice it, you go out there and you walk through things. And so that's how we approach the draft, and it's a lot of fun. It allows you to kind of put yourself in a situation. All right, this player's here. I didn't think he would be. And we have a lot of fun with it. We'll continue to do that.
All right, John, good luck to you. 9-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champ. They won the coin flip this morning. They've got the number 9 pick. They've got a tremendous amount of momentum going their way. And the two great things, you got a franchise quarterback and nice defensive line personnel. Everybody in the NFL wants those two things. Continued success, bud.
Thanks a lot, Colin. Always great to talk to you.
Yeah, I'd like the Niners to win their division next year. I said that. I think they're the pop team in the league. There's 3 things in this league you want to do. Find your quarterback. They did. Protect your quarterback. They got to do some drafting on the O-line and get the other guy's quarterback. They have really, really, really good young defensive line players.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.